Hey, 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 it's some Marquette volleyball time here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us, Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford. We're bringing you Marquette volleyball action live from the Al McGuire Center against the Villanova Wildcats, the #1 seed in the Big East versus the #3, Zoe. It's going to be a fun one.
It's definitely going to be a fun one. Villanova lost last night in a 5-set match to DePaul, but they had swept Creighton earlier on October 8th, so it'll be interesting to see how they do against another #9 team.
And you were saying, like you said pregame, this Villanova team is very streaky. You mentioned the Creighton game, one of the best teams in the NCAA as well as the Big East, of course, sweeping them, but losing to a team like DePaul in 5 sets. Granted, that was in Chicago. So really don't know what you're going to get for the Villanova Wildcats. And then for Marquette, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting the senior connection. The last time you'll see the connection between Speckman and Barber in a regular season match for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, it is. They have been the dynamic duo for this Golden Eagles team since their freshman year. They came in, made an impact. It's all the bread and butter. You always go to Speckman to Barber.
And it is senior night, so the seniors were honored. Gwen Jones, Allie Barber, Madeline Mosier, and of course Lauren Speckman. So the emotions running high. Marquette wants to give their seniors one last win as we are about to get underway with Lauren Speckman serving it up for the Golden Eagles. Set by Decker. Going for the kill. It stays in, and Villanova strikes first. That was Sophia Howling with her first kill of the evening. My apologies, it was actually out of bounds. It'll go to Marquette as Speckman serves again. Set by Decker. Villanova this time gets it to fall, and now it is tied 1-all.
Hannah Vandenberg just didn't get her hands up to get that block close enough.
And it was actually Mallory Potts who gets the first kill for the Wildcats. As now the Wildcats serve. Dug by Kanavadov, set by Speckman over to Vandenberg. Now Orff sends it back. And that's a kill for Orff, and the Golden Eagles reclaim the lead 2-1.
She hit it right in the back of the court where she knew no Villanova player was about to get there.
Some heads-up volleyball from Orff in that last one as now Vandenberg serves for Marquette. And it just gets over. Decker will set. Marquette has a chance. Kanavadov to Barber. Tries to tip it over. Decker has another chance to set it up. Back to Marquette. Speckman sets. Over to Barber. She gets her first kill of the evening.
Interesting thing about Allie Barber, her sister Maddie actually committed this year to play at Villanova next year. So she was here at senior night supporting her sister, but also this is her future team.
And what could have been Barber, another Barber coming into the Golden Eagles, goes to one of the rivals for the Golden Eagles. A little interesting story there. The referee resumes play now. Vandenberg serving. 3-1 Marquette leads. Vandenberg assuming the starting role with the injured KJ Lyons. She's done for the season. Here comes Wirch. Now the Wildcats have a chance, set by Decker. And that's Delaplane. Marquette sends it over. Villanova has a chance to set, and Barber blocks the kill attempt. That was from Decker. She tried to surprise the Golden Eagles, but it didn't work. Barber was ready for it.
When you have a 6'5" senior like Allie Barber right up there, there's no way you could get around her, and she went right into Barber, and that's why it came right back.
Vandenberg giving Marquette a 3-0 scoring run. Wildcats look to answer. Sends it over. Speckman sets to Barber, and a dig goes right back to Marquette. Now Marquette has a second chance. This time to Orff. She gets the kill.
Elizabeth Orff is doing a great job today. Already has 2 kills, leads all hitters, doing a really nice job of just finding the open court.
It's been all Marquette so far. Again, we mentioned that Villanova is a very streaky team so far this year, so you never know if they're going to go on a run of their own as Decker sets. That was Olsenoski getting the kill for Marquette. It was a good block attempt from the Golden Eagles, but it was unsuccessful.
When Villanova actually upset Creighton, they held Creighton to a .134, which is the second worst mark of the year behind their loss to Nebraska, which is very impressive, and that's what they're going to try to do against Marquette.
This time, Decker serves it over. Orff goes for her kill attempt, no good. Good dig from the Wildcats. Speckman goes to Barber. That's tipped, and that's a kill. Barber gets her second of the evening. 6-2, Golden Eagles lead.
Villanova can't let Marquette get out to too big of a lead or else they're going to bury themselves.
It'll be Reagan Lowe playing the libero position for the Wildcats. She's done a pretty good job so far this evening for Villanova. Decker serves it to Potts. And they have a second chance. Decker over to Olsenowski. Vandenberg sets to Barber. She'll just send it over and gives the Wildcats a chance now to set something up. And a good kill. That was Sunab Barnes. She gets her first kill for the Wildcats. 6-3, Villanova trails.
Lauren Speckman got her hand under it just enough, but Hope Worth just wasn't ready for it, so they couldn't get it back over.
Now it's Anna Morse, the sophomore libero. When Jones was a little too high from Speckman's set, it goes out of bounds. A little bit of panic from the Golden Eagles there, gives the Wildcats another point.
Definitely miscommunication there. Gwen Jones was going to try to go up, but it was too high for her, so she couldn't do what she does best at slide.
And Morse, it says she's a libero, but she's playing the back row for the Wildcats this evening. As the current libero, Reagan Lowe, couldn't handle that kill from the Golden Eagles, and Marquette's lead grows back to 3.
Hope Worth is so powerful. When she gets up there and hits it, she can just get that power on it that no one can really do anything about.
And Barber subs out, Madeline Mosier. First senior night, she checks in. We have not seen a lot of Mosier this year.
No.
As she serves. You had to assume she was going to suit up for the last game. And right she does, as now Decker sets. Over to Delaplane. Decker back. Delaplane again. And it's a net violation. That'll give Marquette the ball. Or not Marquette, I should say Villanova the point.
So Madeline Mosier has only played 13 matches this season. Compared to last year, she's played 32. So she definitely took a step back because of her injury earlier in that season.
And Mosier, she gets one serve. She subs right out with Speckman. That gives Sarah Rose and Ellie Kuntz a chance to get back in. They've been the sort of the quote-unquote sixth men of the team in terms of that libero, or my apologies, the setter to outside hitter connection, as Marquette gets another kill, and they give their lead 8-5 now.
Gwen Jones gets on the board, her first kill of the night.
It'll be Hope Wirtz to serve for the Golden Eagles. She's averaging 2.69 kills per set. She's actually second on the team behind, you guessed it, Allie Barber, who just last night officially became the all-time kills leader for the Marquette program. Now Rose will set to Kuntz. And it looked like it was tipped, and then they'll say it was. Marquette gets the point. 9-5, Golden Eagles lead by 4.
Golden Eagles doing a really nice job of keeping on this offense. They are hitting at a .462 combined, which all of their hitters are doing a really nice job of finding the open court.
Wirtz serves again. Decker sets to Barnes. Good dig from Knabadov. Now Vandenberg. She's got a shot. Barnes again tries to tip it over. Rose sets right in no man's land. She gets a kill. The famous setter kill. You don't really see that too often, but Speckman and Rose know when to play the card correctly.
Yeah, they know when they're going to try to set it up for a hitter, but then instead just go to the open court, and that usually works for them.
And Hope Wirtz, again, she's been having a great season. She serves for the Golden Eagles, and Kuntz sends it right back down. But it's a net violation on Kuntz. She got a little too ahead of herself there. And the 4-0 scoring run, 3-0 scoring run, my apologies, is now concluded. Villanova is back on 10-6, still trailing by 4. And Hope Wirtz, before that last serve, she actually is currently leading the team with service aces. She has 48 on the year.
Last year she led them as well. She had 55 last season.
So it's pretty safe to say she's probably the best server on this roster.
Definitely.
And now Villanova, they have a shot. When Jones, the fellow senior, it's saved. Now Rose over to Vandenberg. That'll go out of bounds right by us.
Hopefully we don't get hit by a ball today.
We're not trying to repeat that. But Marquette gets a point, 11-6. They're up 5 now. as Jones, the fellow senior, has a chance to serve for the Golden Eagles. This is her lone year in Marquette, yet she still made a very large impact on this roster. That's looks like another net violation, or they're going to give double contact. There's going to be some dispute between the referees. They'll talk it. I couldn't really tell in that last play. It looked like Marquette wanted the net violation, but Villanova thought maybe Marquette had the same idea. I'm a little confused on that last play.
I am definitely also confused on that last play, but Josh Steinbeck is not happy with that original call.
Oh, Coach Steinbeck got what he wanted. The point will go back to Villanova to trim the deficit back down to 4. As Potts checks back in for the Wildcats. Still serving is Delaplane, the sophomore outside hitter from an area kind of near us, Zoe, Downers Grove, Illinois.
Yeah, that is pretty close to where we live.
Ellie Kuntz gets it over, and now Villanova goes for the kill, and it's successful off the fingers of Kuntz. And the Wildcats down 3 again.
Potts just had so much power on that. There's really nothing Ellie Kuntz could have done.
Renali Potts definitely one of the impact players for the Wildcats. As now Marquette has a chance. Kuntz just gets it over, and now set up. And it gets tipped off the fingertips again. Villanova has a 2-0 scoring run. It's 11-9.
Golden Eagles kind of struggling on the defensive in the last few points. They really haven't gotten in front of the block.
Delaplane, now Rose to Vandenberg. Decker sets to Potts. Oh, she's got it going. 11-10. Villanova now actually on a 4-0 scoring run, and the game is nearly tied. Villanova has only led since the first point. They haven't led since. Delaplane again to serve. Dug by Vandenberg. Set by Rose, back to Vandenberg, stuffed at the net. And the little give and go action did not pay off. Howling had other plans as she stuffs that one down the court, and now it's 11-all.
No Golden Eagles even in the vicinity of that.
Delaplane will go for 5 in a row now. She's been on a roll as Orff tries to send it over. And blocked again. My goodness, that time it was Decker, the setter.
Well, when you're a 6'3" setter, you could get up there and get your hands in front of the ball and block it, and that's exactly what she did. That was a nice play.
And it forces Marquette to call its first timeout of the evening, trailing by 1 now. Marquette was up by 5 at one point. Now they trail by 1 as Coach Tice looks to regroup and get his team back on track. And Zoe, I know we didn't really get to talk about this pregame because we were rushing to get to game time really quickly, but when you look at this Villanova team, they're definitely pretty hard to prepare for. I know we talked to Coach Tice after last night's game against Georgetown. He said that Villanova is one of the teams in the Big East that runs a different kind of offense and defense per se compared to a lot of the Big East teams. If you're Coach Tice for the Golden Eagles, how do you game plan for a team like Villanova?
It's definitely really hard because you don't know what you're going to get, and especially like when you see how they played against other teams, like how you see they played last night and they didn't play great and they lost in 5 sets, but then they swept Creighton. So it's definitely really interesting to see how they have these spurts where they're really good, and you've seen that even in this early set. Like they were down by 6 points and now they're ahead by 1. So it's really interesting to see how they can get in these spurts of just having that momentum even when it's not their home court.
Yeah, this team, I know we said streaky, but I'd also like to give the word spontaneous to the Wildcats. They really just, when they're ready to go, they just go, and they go for it all, and it just works out for them. And so far, they've shown exactly why they've been described as a streaky team, especially in the Big East Conference. And again, they're looking to gain some traction as they're 3rd behind Marquette and, of course, Creighton. Now we resume play. It'll be a great save. That was from Delaplane to keep the rally going. And Vandenberg, she kills it. And we're back at 12, tied again.
So going back to the Big East standings, actually, Marquette is in first place right now. They have 14-1 record. Creighton is at second at 13-1, and then there's Villanova at 11-4. So they're definitely trying to get another statement win.
For the last couple of years, it seemed that it's really been Marquette and Creighton, but Villanova seems like one of those teams that's on the rise and starting to creep up in terms of the Big East Conference. As they get another kill, that was Potts.
Exactly, and I think that has something to do with Josh Steinbeck and his 13 years. I mean, when he started at this program, they were in losing seasons, but he has turned this program around, and give credit to him for rebuilding this program into a top Big East program.
Yeah, and just to give a little accolade for him as coach. In his first year with Villanova, he was actually Big East Coach of the Year. So he definitely knows what he's doing. As Barber checks back in along with Speckman for the Golden Eagles. She'll dig or sets to Barber. A rare middle blocker outside hitter connection there ties it at 13.
That was a huge momentum swing for Marquette, trying to get something going here on the offense.
And that'll be Vandenberg to serve again. The starters back in for the Golden Eagles as Vandenberg's serve is long. It's back to Villanova. They get the point 14-13 in the first set.
So I say this all the time. I do not like service errors because it's basically a free point for the other team. And yesterday the Golden Eagles had 11, so they really struggled on the serve. And it's really interesting to see if they'll bounce back from that. I mean, obviously Vandenberg just had one now, but
it's one of those minor details in the game that when you look at the end of the stat sheet at the end of the game, it really can become major, especially in situations like that. As speaking of the Devils, Zoe, another service error, that time from Villanova, ties it at 14.
It's definitely interesting to see, like, last night, Marquette and Georgetown combined for 21 service errors, which is a lot. So 21 free points.
Now Decker will set. That was to Potts. Good dig from the Golden Eagles. Barber from Speckman, maybe? No. Actually, it is a really good dig attempt from the Wildcats. That was low, and Delaplane diving for it, but Allie Barber's speed and her power on those kill attempts, there's something else.
I was going to say that was a great attempt from low to just a hustle, but she just couldn't get there in time.
Kanavanov serves again. Decker sets. That time to Olsenowski. Kanavanov sets. This time to Hope Ward. She gets a kill. The attacks have been successful so far for Marquette. 16-14, their lead jumps to 2.
Golden Eagles on a 3-0 scoring run, kind of finding their offense and where they need to be compared to the last 10 points.
And Kanavanov, her third serve in a row. Dug by Olsenowski. Stacked by Decker. And good dig from Speckman. Kanavanov almost runs into Barber. They'll send it back over. And now Villanova has a kill opportunity. Good dig from Kanavanov. Set by Speckman. Barber's kill attempt no good. That was stuffed in the net. Villanova, that's their third block, it seems like, this evening. And keeping them in this game, they're only down 1.
That was a huge.
We broadcast, and I know you're the beat reporter. You've done a great job on that beat. But
thanks, Jack.
Of course, no. But looking at Coach Tyson tell when he's going to challenge because he always stands up and he just he already wants to pull the card. And then he has that look in his eye, and then all he needs is just from one of the players to say, yeah, no, that didn't happen, and then he just immediately challenges it. It's just you know it's going to happen before it happens.
Exactly, and I think knowing as well, and he definitely trusts his players to ask them before he even challenges, and then even though he kind of knows, he just wants to make fully aware that his players knew what happened as well. So just having that trust with his players, I think, is just what makes him so good at and winning most of the challenges that he calls, because he only calls them when he knows that it's going to be their way.
And I remember there was a game a few weeks back when we were actually on the call. I'm pretty sure Tyson was one of those rare games where he was 1 for 3 on challenges. He had a rough outing, I guess, but usually he is successful in those opportunities. So we'll see if he gets it right this time. Again, I think the argument is that Gwyn Jones touched it, or at least tipped it when it went out of bounds, giving Villanova the point. So this could be a good 2-point swing. Marquette's lead could grow to 3 if successful on the challenge. They would only need 6 more to win set 1, and especially in volleyball, we know how important it is to win that first set because it really can determine how the rest of the game plays out.
Exactly, and I think Coach Tyson said this many times, that volleyball is a game of momentum, and the team that has the momentum at the moment is the one that's going to go on those runs, and it's all about keeping that serve in and kind of keeping that momentum throughout, and I think having the Al McGuire Center and having the home crowd, Marquette kind of has that momentum.
And Tice is going to start 0 for 1. It will be rewarded to Villanova. Turns out there was some contact between Gwyn Jones and the ball, and it'll stay 18-17. Marquette still leads by 1 again. Thanks for joining us here on Marquette University Television. Go marquette.com/watch. Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford bringing you this special edition of Senior Night Volleyball between Marquette and Villanova. After the challenge, there still seems to be some talking between Coach Steinbeck and his players. But we will resume. It'll be Allman just subbed in for the Wildcats to serve, and Jones gets stuffed. That was from Howling. Another block from the Villanova Wildcats. And while we see so many blocks so far, so I wanted to mention this. Coming into tonight's game, Nova has more blocks than all their opponents, 189 to 142.5. So they definitely are a defensive-heavy team in that regard, as Villanova reclaims the lead 19-18 after a successful serve.
Villanova's going on a 3-0 scoring run, and Tice has to call a timeout.
Yeah, Coach Tice calls time. That's his second already of the evening. Villanova is putting a lot of pressure on the Golden Eagles on their senior night. Could they split? Well, we'll find out soon enough. Again, this has been a pretty fun broadcast so far. It's a good game. Villanova and Marquette have gone back and forth. Marquette at one point led by 5. And now they trail by 1, so it's been real back and forth so far between the Golden Eagles and the Wildcats.
Exactly. It's like Marquette has a run, and then Villanova will go on their own. So they're just trading off runs, and it's going to be interesting to see which team comes out on top, because I think Villanova on the defensive side is doing a way better job. They have 4 blocks, and I know that Marquette definitely, that's all they've been working on this season is to get better at blocking, but they just have 1. So if they can't kind of get those more blocks, they're not going to stop Villanova.
And looking ahead for both the Golden Eagles and, of course, the Villanova Wildcats, they each have 2 games remaining on their schedule before the conclusion of the regular season. And funny enough, the start of the Big East tournament, which will actually be here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the Al McGuire Center. So Villanova and Marquette could very well meet each other a 3rd time this year in the tournament.
Exactly, and it's really interesting. So Marquette leads 17-4 in the all-time series, and they've won 4 straight against Villanova. So it's definitely interesting to see if Marquette can keep that streak going, or if Villanova's going to turn the tables like they did with Creighton.
Well, we're about to resume play. It'll be Allman again, the junior defensive specialist from Manhattan Beach, California, to serve for the Wildcats. Kanavadoff a little confused. She tripped, and a service ace for Allman.
Second service ace for the Wildcats. Villanova leads by 2.
Here comes Allman again. And that's a service error. And Marquette needed something to kind of spark some interest here. And now they're only down 1. 19-20 again. Marquette trailing by 1 to Villanova as Gwyn Jones serves it up. Decker sets. And Howling gets it blocked by Vandenberg, and now Marquette has an opportunity on the attack. And looks like there was double contact. And Marquette will lose another point, 21-19 in favor of Villanova.
So that's definitely another unforced error that I don't like to see. When you have those double contacts, it's basically the same thing as a service error. You're giving Villanova the free point. They're not having to work for it at all.
And it'll be Delaplane to serve again. Some confusion between the referee and Coach Tice right now. As give you a little bit of a breakdown about Claire Delaplane. She actually started 21 of the 28 matches in 2018, so she's one of the key players on this Wildcat roster. She was a 4-time varsity athlete at Downers Grove. And some fun facts for you, she actually loves baking and spending time with friends in her spare time.
Yeah, she is definitely an impressive player. I mean, in high school, she had over 1,000 kills, and she played for First Alliance Volleyball Club in 2016, and they got second place in the AAU National. So she's definitely an all-around good player in high school, and that's translating over into college. As Brian Tice challenged this call again.
All right. Coach Tice is trying to redeem himself after the failed challenge just a few minutes ago, actually. Again, 21-19, you're listening to GoMarquette.com/watch as well as MarquetteWire.org/MUTV, a Marquette University television production. We thank you for joining us. Jack Phillips and Zoe Comerford on the call. It's been fun so far. It's been a close game, and it's going to probably be even closer as the game goes on. The streakiest team in the Big East between Villanova and the powerhouse that is the Golden Eagles facing off here in the Al McGuire Center. It's been so fun to watch so far. And Marquette looking to try and get that first set to set the momentum, but Villanova having other plans. They only need 4 to win the first set and thus take command of this game heading into the second set.
So I was looking at the national rankings for Marquette. So they're actually first in the NCAA right now with 14.2 assists per set as of November 15th. And they're second in the NCAA with 14.86 kills. So I would say Marquette is definitely a more offensive team, while Villanova is the big defensive team. And
I think, if you're looking for clarification there, I think you can just look at someone like Decker, who's a 6'3" setter. I know you mentioned that. That just shows how poised they are defensively, going with such a height advantage compared to Lauren Speckman, who stands at 5'8", I believe, or 5'6".
And then you have Decker, who's 6'3", taller than some of the outside hitters as a setter.
Mm-hmm. Well, we resume play. The challenge was, again, not in Marquette's favor. Coach Tice goes 0 for 2 as Kanavadov gets it over to Vandenberg. A good dig from Lowe and a good block from Orff, but the Wildcats have another chance. Here comes Delaplane. Good dig from Wirch. Rose sets. Vandenberg sends it over. Decker will set. Over to Howling, and a good rally so far between the Golden Eagles and Wildcats. Wirch goes for it. Decker sets. Delaplane. Dug by Wirch. Rose to Kuntz. Back and forth we go.
One of the longest points of the match.
And the kill is finally put down. That is from Potts. She's been having one heck of a game so far. That's her 6th kill on the evening. She leads now both Marquette and Villanova in kills for the night. And it'll be Delaplane serving again. They only need 3 to clinch the first set as Kanavadov digs. Rose to Orff. Good dig from the Wildcats, and Decker tries to send it over. But now it's Vandenberg with the opportunity, and she gets the kill. Successful attack from the Golden Eagles, 22-20 Marquette trails.
Golden Eagles are going to need to put in Lawrence Beckman and Allie Barber.
And that senior connection, they have the magic in them one more time for the Al McGuire crowd. And like I mentioned, this is technically senior night, but they're still hosting the tournament, so it's going to be kind of like, it's a rare senior night where this isn't really the last time fans are going to get to see them. Barber sets. Back to Speckman for the set to Barber. And a block at the net. It's between Decker and Barber. You don't see a setter and an outside hitter usually fight over that. And it's a net violation. An attack error on the Wildcats. Marquette down 1 now, trying to clinch this first set in the evening.
So the Golden Eagles before were hitting at a .417, and now they're hitting at a .256, so definitely done a little less on the offensive.
And a service ace.
A much-needed one.
And that was Speckman. She ties it at 22. And a timeout by Villanova. Steinbach has seen enough and wants to try and rally his troops to the final 3 points.
Exactly, and he was going on that run, and then Marquette got the momentum and went on their own run. So this game has already been a game of momentum.
So far, Marquette, again, we've mentioned this before, but it's really gone back and forth. The Golden Eagles at one point had a 5-point lead and now Villanova. They eventually grasped a 2-point lead, and so ever since then it's been kind of going back and forth. We stand at 22-all. Again, thanks for joining us on GoMarquette.com/watch as well as MarquetteWire.org/MUTV. Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford. It's a fun night here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The weather's finally, it's definitely colder, but it's definitely not as cold as it has been. It's finally in the 30s, which says something about us that we find that warm.
I know, it's sad we find that warm, but that's what it is. It was 20 on Tuesday, so.
It's mid-November and we're already dealing with the 20s, but what do you expect? We're from the Milwaukee, Chicago area. It's
exactly. It's starting to be
something to
winter.
get used to, exactly.
Starting to be winter, but it's definitely heating up in the Al McGuire Center.
Oh my God, it definitely is. Two powerhouse teams between Marquette and Villanova battling it out here in the Al McGuire Center. Again, thanks for joining us so far. As the timeout is about to conclude, and we will resume play momentarily as both these teams fight for the final 3 points in the first set. Speckman will serve again for the Golden Eagles. She just got a service ace, prompting the timeout from Coach Steinbach. And here comes Speckman. She serves. Set by Decker. And Howland gets a kill. Successful attack from the Wildcats. 23-22. Villanova retakes the lead. And it'll be Reagan Lowe, the senior libero, to serve for the Wildcats. And crucial error by Vandenberg. It looked like she was going to set up Speckman to go set up Barber, but it was I guess a receival error.
Yeah, she definitely just didn't get her hands on it in time, and then Speckman wasn't there.
Well, it's set point as Lowe's gets a service error. And Marquette, after their crucial error, lets Villanova give up a crucial error. Now it's 23-24. We could be seeing some extra possessions here in the first set already as Vandenberg serves. Decker sets. And it goes out of bounds, but it says it was tipped, and it'll be Villanova's point, and thus Villanova's first set victory, jumping out to a 1-0 lead.
I think it's always, Jack, and I know we talked about this, but it is whoever wins the first set, they have that momentum for the rest of the match. So Villanova on Marquette's home court, on Marquette's senior night, they have the momentum after this first set win, and now they can't get complacent and think that that's okay. I think they really need to think, okay, how can we keep that up if we're going to try to beat them on their home court?
And again, something that Villanova desperately needed was that first set because of how hostile this environment can be for opposing teams. Marquette has a great fan base, and they show out every game, especially in such a powerhouse game like this. So with that, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, you're going to be listening to more MUTV broadcasts of Marquette volleyball against Villanova. Again, Jack Phillips and Zoe Comerford will be right back in just a few moments to bring you more Marquette volleyball action right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Marquette and Villanova both getting water during their short little break, and Zoe Comerford and I just took a short little break and got some water as well, because we are talking a lot of Marquette volleyball and our voices get tired. So thanks again for coming back with us. It's Marquette volleyball versus Villanova. The Wildcats just took the first set, as incredible as that may sound, because Marquette has given up very few sets in the Big East Conference, other than last night against Georgetown, but that was the second set. So Marquette, for the first time in a long time, it seems like they're trailing in the first set.
Exactly. That hasn't happened in a while, like you said, Jack. And it's really interesting because last night the Wildcats won the first set, but then fell in 2 straight at DePaul. So it's definitely interesting to see how they get in those streaks of doing really well. And I think they showed that in the first by having 4 blocks. They were a huge defensive team. I mean, their offense wasn't amazing, but I think they really picked it up in defense, and that's why they beat Marquette in that first set, because their defense was so strong.
Definitely, Zoe. The defense has been very strong, especially on the Wildcat side. Those middle blocker and outside hitters have just done a great job walking up Barber or Vandenberg. It's been a sort of an offensive shutdown, although Marquette has still had some success in that area. As now we're moments away from beginning the second set. Again, Villanova leading 1-0. Thanks for joining us here on MUTV. Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford on the call, bringing you volleyball action in the Big East Conference. It's senior night for the Golden Eagles seniors. Speckman, Barber, Mosier, and of course Gwynn Jones, the lone senior for the lone year in a Marquette uniform. Motions running high in the Al McGuire Center. The Golden Eagles looking to give their seniors one last hurrah in the regular season. As Lowe serves it up for the Wildcats. And Barber gets a kill. She sends that right back to Lowe. And no dig attempt necessary as Marquette gets the point.
Barber's just too strong. She now leads all hitters with 6 kills.
6 kills for Barber. As Vandenberg goes to serve. Set by Decker over to Olsenowski. And now Kanavanov will set over to Wirch. And it's tipped and it stays in. And Marquette gets the second point. 2-0 Marquette up to the 2 early lead.
Golden Eagles definitely trying to turn that momentum onto their side after having lost that first set.
It seems like one of those games where you wouldn't be surprised if it went 5 sets. Here comes Villanova. That's Olsenowski. It goes out of bounds. Marquette gets 3 in a row. 3-0 scoring run for the Golden Eagles and a 3rd serve in a row for Vandenberg.
I mean, after Villanova had a 5-set match last night, they probably don't want to push it to 5 sets again.
They're definitely a little tired, especially being on the road. It's a testament to how talented this Villanova roster is. As Speckman sets, of course, to Barber. Block attempts not successful, despite getting it in the air. The re-dig attempt was no good, and Marquette jumps out to a 4-0 lead. Don't be shocked if Steinbach calls a quick timeout soon. Vandenberg for her 4th serve in a row. Decker sets over to Potts. And that's a successful kill. Attack successful for the Wildcats. 4-1 there on the board.
It's off the hands of Elizabeth Orff, and then Martha Kanavanov just couldn't get back. She wasn't in the right position to even get a hand on it.
It will be the 6-3 setter Decker to serve for Villanova. And Kanavanov couldn't handle it. No dig. And Decker gets a service ace. 4-2. Marquette still leads.
Villanova's 4th service ace of the match.
The serves have been connecting so far for the Wildcats as Speckman sets over to Wirch, and it's tipped out of bounds, and the Wildcats will not get a point. It'll go to Marquette. 5-2, 3-point lead for the Golden Eagles as Kanavanov looks to serve for Marquette. And a play at the net goes to Marquette. A rough setup for the Wildcats as Marquette's lead goes back to 4, 6-2.
I think the thing is, though, when you have this big lead, especially Marquette, they can't count Villanova out because you have seen Villanova get in those big runs.
Set by Decker over to Potts. And Speckman will give it over. It'll go out of bounds, though. An interesting dig attempt there, but Marquette couldn't handle it, and Villanova gets a point as it appears Anna Morse is checking in for Potts. And she'll serve. Set by Speckman. Barber attack no good. And now Decker over to Olsenowski. And they're going to argue that it hit the ground, but ball does not lie as Marquette can't handle it and Villanova gets the point. It looked like earlier that it already had hit the ground, but the refs let it play through and the Wildcats eventually got the point. More serves. Speckman sets. Gwynn Jones blocked the net. Alsanowski, good dig from Konovatov. Gwynn Jones will give it to Barber, and she gets a kill.
She paints the back line like she does.
Very rare to see players like Allie Barber who can get kill attempts without the real good setups.
Exactly. She wasn't set up very well. She wasn't in position. She just hit it, and it went in and painted the back line.
Now she's 8 for 16 on her kills. 50%'s not bad. And Barnes gets stuffed by Wirch, but Marquette has another chance. Set by Decker over to Delaplane. It looked like it was tipped, and it was. And Villanova gets a point. 7-5, Marquette leads by 2. And it'll be Alsanowski, the senior outside hitter from New Orleans, Louisiana, to serve for the Wildcats. A very important player in Alsanowski. She started every match in 2018.
And she was the only player to do so.
The only player on this Wildcat roster, like you mentioned, Zoe, someone crucial to the development of this program. As Rose gets it to Gwynn Jones, good dig. That was from Morse. Delaplane sends it over, and Rose sets back to Jones. We go back to Delaplane. Rose sets. This to Wirch. And good placement from Wirch as she gets the kill. A soft kill, but a kill nonetheless.
Exactly. That brings her total to 6. She's 6 for 9, hitting it at .667, the best on this Golden Eagles team.
And now Hope Wirch to serve. Little rainbow serve there. Rose digs. Konovatov sets. Vandenberg, her kill attempt unsuccessful, blocked by Howling. And Villanova gets another point. Still a 2-point deficit from the Wildcats. So now it'll be Sarah Allman to serve for Villanova. A line drive. Rose, Vandenberg, and they're going to say it hit the ground. It'll go to Marquette now. Good point for the Golden Eagles.
Looks like Steinbeck's asking his player, and he has a challenge card in his hand, so.
Will he challenge, though? He's got a few moments to decide, and he decides not to. It'll be Gwynn Jones to serve, another line drive serve. Howling now over to Kuntz, and it's stuffed. Delaplane sends it back to the Golden Eagles side and gets a point for Villanova.
Kuntz just didn't get a good hand on it. She got under it instead of on top of it, so that's why it just almost didn't even make it over the net.
Mallory Potts currently leads the Wildcats with 7 kills. Trailing her, of course, Clara Delaplane. She's been creeping up so far throughout the evening. As Lowe will dig. And a good attack attempt from Potts. And the kill goes to Vandenberg. Lowe goes for the dig, can't handle it. And Marquette's lead back to 3 now, 10-7. If you're just joining us again, you're listening to Marquette University Television's broadcast of the Marquette Golden Eagles versus the Villanova Wildcats in volleyball. Jack Phillips and Zoe Comfort on the call. Thank you for joining us as Speckman serves for Marquette. And a good setup from Decker to Howling, and she gets the kill. Howling now has 3 kills on the evening. My apologies, 2 kills. It'll be Lowe to serve once again for Nova. Speckman to Vandenberg. It's blocked, but Wildcats can keep it in. Here comes Potts. And the attack is bounce. Marquette gets the point, 11-8 now. Sort of in the beginning of the season, we talked a lot about Hannah Vandenberg and seeing if she'd get more playing time. And now she's emerged as one of the starters for the Golden Eagles in her first year with Marquette.
Exactly, and she has so much more time she could develop into that player like Allie Barber. I think she has potential to be like Allie Barber.
She definitely has, and she's getting these reps so early on in her Marquette career. We might see her become kind of, or transcend into what Allie Barber has become in this program, as Potts just got the kill for Villanova to trim the deficit back down to 2.
Exactly.
But yeah, Vandenberg definitely has that potential.
She does, and she has that jump like Allie Barber too, and they get so high before they go up and hit it.
And Allie Barber's attack goes out of bounds, or it was tipped by Villanova, and they're not going to challenge it. It looked like Steinbach was going to challenge it, but I guess not. So it was tipped by the Wildcats. Marquette gets the point.
Marquette leads by 3.
And now Kanavidov with the service error right into the net. 12-10, Villanova still trails by 2. I know we talk about Hannah Vandenberg a lot, but she's one of those other players, kind of like Allie Barber. It's all about the homegrown talent for the Marquette program from Little Chute, Wisconsin. Allie Barber from Cedarburg. As Barber goes for the kill, it's going to be out of bounds, though, and Villanova gets the point to trim the deficit back down to 1.
I remember that Coach Tice was saying in Dan Abington's story about Hannah Vandenberg that her family runs the town, basically. Her dad's the mayor, and they just have so much involvement in that town.
Really interesting story as Hope Wirtz gets the kill for Marquette, 13-11. Marquette leads.
We're talking about more homegrown talent. Hope Wirtz is from Neenah, Wisconsin. So Marquette has 7 players that are from the Wisconsin area.
Yeah, and you compare that to Villanova. You've seen players, like I said, from Louisiana, California,
Texas,
all over the East Coast. Yeah, it's definitely not as much homegrown as Marquette has been. That just says something with Marquette being ranked 9th in the country now. How impressive that development is from the Golden Eagles. As Decker sets. That one to Barnes, but now Rose sets for Wirtz. Good dig from Morse. And Rose digs this one out. Kanavidov will set it over to Wirtz. And she gets the kill and ends that rally. 14-11, Marquette's lead back to 3.
I definitely think, though, Jack, it goes back to Tice's recruiting and the fact that he's a native of Madison, Wisconsin. He played at Middleton. So it's all of this Wisconsin talent that he's just getting from in-state, which I think helps build the program better because everyone in Wisconsin sees, okay, Marquette's a really good program.
And it's going to be interesting to see once Allie Barber and Lauren Speckman are gone next year if Marquette can keep up this positive swing and keep climbing the rankings like they have the past few years, or if they're going to kind of not necessarily descend, but not be a number 9 or 10 team in the country next year.
Exactly, and Marquette's, this is their 26th consecutive week being ranked, going back to September 3rd of 2018, and their 8th consecutive week in this season in the top 10.
Marquette's definitely a very talented team as Villanova looked like there was a net violation on them, and now Marquette, their lead back to 3, 15-12. Again, you're listening to MUTV's Marquette volleyball broadcast versus the Villanova Wildcats. Jack Phillips on the call alongside Zoe Comerford. Thank you for joining us and spending your Saturday evening with us. As Hope Wirtz serves it, the leader in service aces for Marquette. Barnes' kill attempt stays in, and she gets the kill. Villanova's continuing to battle with Marquette in the second set after claiming the first. 15-13, they still trail.
Villanova's definitely looking for their second ranked win of the season. Their first came against Creighton, as we said earlier. They swept Creighton, and that was their first top 10 win of Steinbeck's tenure.
And looks like a service ace for Villanova. Hope Wirtz couldn't handle it. And the lead down to 1 again. It's really been back and forth in the second set especially.
It literally has. I feel like the whole match has been back and forth, just trading off points.
Some evenly matched teams here as a service error from Villanova this time. Looks like that was Allman with the error. Now Gwen Jones will have the opportunity for Marquette. Over to Rose now to Kuntz. Here comes Decker to set. To Howling, but it's stuffed. And now Marquette can set. Over to Wirtz, an interesting set to the back row. Here comes Villanova now. Howling. Good dig by Jones to keep it in. It'll go out of bounds. And now Marquette's lead down to 1 again. Villanova gets the point to make it 16-15.
So I know we were talking earlier about how Villanova has really rebuilt their program, but when Coach Steinbeck started in 2007, he led the team to 17-12 record overall, but now they're already 20-7 this season.
They're definitely having a great year, and again, a lot has to do with Coach Steinbeck and how he's really built this program back up, as Villanova actually ties it now, 16 all. Marquette trying to keep the momentum they've been building throughout this set, but can't let it slip away. Villanova, again, if they can sweep Creighton, the Creighton members swept Marquette earlier this year, so anything's possible in this game. As now Vandenberg tries to send it back, but Decker sets to Howling, dug by Wirch, set by Rose, and Kuntz gets the kill. An attack that is successful for Marquette, 17-16, they lead by 1. And now Barber and Speckman to check in for the Golden Eagles.
Golden Eagles with only that 1-point lead. They have to go to their bread and butter, like we keep saying, the dynamic duo, and you bring Lauren Speckman, Allie Barber in, and you're going to think that they're probably going to go that route. Speckman to Barber, try to get a kill or something.
Now Orff saves it, Speckman sets it, and Barber couldn't finish it. And that goes out of bounds. Good eyes on Speckman. 18-16 now. Marquette's lead back to 2. Remember, Villanova won the first set 25-23. And now Villanova, as Coach Steinbach calls a timeout to give us the first break in the second set, Zoe. So in this second set, comparing the first 2 sets, what we've seen so far, what's Marquette been doing differently in this second one that has kind of benefited them and allowed them to get into such a lead right now?
I mean, I think they've done a way better job on defense. I know they only have 1 more block than they did before. They only have 2 total blocks, but they're kind of not letting Villanova have those blocks, and they're being more aggressive on the offensive. I mean, they're hitting a .281, the Golden Eagles, which isn't super high, but also they're doing way better on the defense and just keeping the points longer and longer.
Definitely. And again, Marquette so far is playing a team like Villanova. You really never know what you're going to expect. And we talked about how streaky they've been so far this year, but really trying to game plan. And I know I mentioned that we talked to Coach Tice last night about it, and game planning for especially a 6'3" setter in Emma Decker. It's really hard to game plan for.
It is, definitely. I mean, when she's taller than most of their outside hitters, and that's just a really impressive thing to have. I'm surprised she's not an outside hitter and she's a setter instead, but she's a very impressive player. I mean, she made an immediate impact her first year in 2016. She was Big East Freshman of the Year 2 times. She had 10 points, or Big East Freshman of the Year, Freshman of the Week 2 times, and then she had 10.97 assists that freshman year, which was 29th in the nation. So she's been an impressive player since her freshman year, and that's just gotten better as she's gotten older.
Yeah, and to give the Marquette comparison, that let's assume KJ Lyons wasn't injured in this hypothetical. Imagine having her setting up Barber every time instead of being the one on the killing opportunities as we resume play. It's just an interesting hypothetical to think about, but really impressive by Villanova how they developed that setter in Decker, as now Speckman sets to Barber as we resume. And Barber will go for a second time. It's blocked. Speckman saves a good play by the Golden Eagles to keep this rally going. Now Decker has it. And Howling gets Villanova back on, 18-17.
Actually, going back to the Emma Decker thing, I really think it would be more like Gwyn Jones. She's 6'3", so it would be more like Gwyn Jones setting up Allie Barber.
If we're going exact height-wise, I guess you're right, Zoe. But even still, like both players, it'd just be interesting to see them as setters. As now Lowe gets the service ace to tie it at 18 in the second set.
Villanova definitely has all the energy in their bench.
This set will be crucial for Marquette if they want to stay in this game and not go down 2-0.
So hard when you go down 2 sets.
Exactly, especially in a game where all it takes is 3. And Potts, who subs back in for Villanova, goes for an attack, no good. Barber, looks like there was too much contact for Marquette, and now Villanova gets the point. They go on a 3-0 run, and that prompts a Coach Tice timeout.
I definitely think it is interesting, though, and we were at that Wisconsin game when Marquette beat Wisconsin on their home floor, but they had gone down 2 sets and came back. So it definitely is interesting to see if they'll get in that situation, but they definitely don't want to be in that situation, especially at home when they're playing a team like Villanova who has it out for them, because Villanova is trying to get another statement win, another top 10 win.
And that, going back to that Madison, let's just walk down memory lane while we're at it. I remember being at that game, and they go down 2-0. Zoe, I mean, yeah, you can speak for yourself, I guess, but I'm filming way up in the nosebleeds, and I'm just sitting there thinking, man, this is just, I guess this was not the game Marquette came out for. And then they win the third set. I'm like, okay, maybe they'll force 4. I guess that's pretty cool. They forced 5. I'm like, wow, they forced a 5th set. And that 4th set was long. I remember that getting almost in the 30s.
It was.
Because it was just back and forth for a minute, and then Marquette finally won it. And then by the time they hit that 5th set, I think Wisconsin was just so winded at that point.
Exactly.
That Marquette just rode it and got the win. But I just remember how the environment just completely shifted from a complete hostile environment in the Badger crowd to just everyone being fun, that a team that was still ranked, but taking on a top 10 team at the time.
They were taking on number 4 Wisconsin at the time, and then they win the third set 29-27 in a nail-biter, win the fourth set 32-30 in a nail-biter, and then win the fifth 15-9 at Wisconsin. So and that was their first win over Wisconsin in program history. So definitely they had all the momentum, but it seems like today Villanova has that momentum at the Al.
And now Speckman sets over to Barber. And she gets the kill to tie it back at 19.
She ends Villanova's 3-0 scoring run. Golden Eagles trying to get some stuff going on offensively.
As Vandenberg she'll serve. Dug by Lowe. Now Decker will set over. Oh, good dig from Speckman. Now Wirch has a shot. Kanavidov, Speckman, Barber almost gets that kill. And it's tipped, and Villanova gets the point, reclaiming the lead, 2019.
Coach Steinbeck real happy about that last play. He had his hand up in the air.
A really big set here. Marquette needs 6 to win. Villanova needs 5. Back and forth we go again. You're listening to MUTV's volleyball broadcast between Marquette and Villanova. Jack Phillips and Zoe Cummered, thank you for joining us this evening as Speckman sets to Wirch. That's a kill. 2020. Here we go. It's getting heated in the Al McGuire Center. 5 points is the magic number for both squads.
What the Golden Eagles can't afford here is a service error. They really need to just get that serve up and not give 3 points.
And Kanavidov will do just that, Zoe, as Mary Potts to Speckman. And Wirch again gets the kill, 21-20 now.
Hope Wirch is on fire today. She has 11 kills now on 17 attempts, hitting it at .647, leading all Golden Eagles.
And Wirch now tied with Barber now leads with 11 kills compared to the Wildcats' Mallory Potts with 9 kills. And it's a service ace. Kanavidov giving Marquette some much-needed momentum, 22-20.
It's just the Golden Eagles' first service ace of the match compared to Villanova's second, excuse me.
Some confusion between the players and the referee.
It looks like they're trying to sub someone in, maybe?
They wiped down the floor. I can't think of what else it could be. Well, a momentary stoppage of play, I guess. And Villanova, I guess we'll just call timeout now. It's 22-20 again. Jack Phillips and Zoe Comerford on the call. It's been a really heated game so far, not necessarily emotionally, but just two powerhouse teams really battling it out here in the Al McGuire Center. And also just for spots in the Big East right now. I mean, Marquette coming in at 1, I think a half a game ahead of Creighton compared to Villanova, who's at 3. So this is definitely probably one of the most important senior nights in recent history in the program. I mean, with Allie Barber and Lauren Speckman being some of the decorated seniors about to leave, they really want to give them one last hurrah before the postseason starts in just a couple weeks. And actually not even just a couple weeks, like a week and a half, I should say. Yeah.
This is crazy.
And then with Villanova, they're trying to play spoiler. They want to get some notice, some attention around the nation, and show how great their program has become over the past few years.
Exactly, and Jack, I would like to talk about Kathleen Johnson. She has not made an appearance today, and she is a freshman right side hitter. She averaged 3.25 kills per set and was hitting it at .514 clip, so she was leading the Wildcats for a while, and she's not even seen the floor today. So.
Well, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That's interesting because when we were prepping for this broadcast a couple hours ago, I remember at one point looking at Kathleen Johnson and seeing that number for the kills, and I had assumed she was just their kill leader. But then if you actually look at the research, she's only played in a handful of matches. But when she's played, she's gotten a lot of great opportunities, and she's made a large impact for Villanova, so it's kind of surprising to not see her playing as much, despite what the numbers might tell you.
Exactly, and she hasn't really even seen the floor. It's probably because they're letting their senior leadership take hold today against the Golden Eagles.
Well, Villanova gets a point after the timeout, 22-21. Both squads trying to finish off this second set and head into the third with momentum as now Speckman sets to Barber. And a net violation on the Wildcats gives Marquette the 23rd point of the set and 2 away from clinching set number 2.
Allie Barber will be back to serve. Coach Tice, when I was talking to him about Allie Barber, he was saying that she has a really good serve. She just doesn't get to serve that often because we don't want her to get tired out.
And that makes sense. I mean, Barber obviously being the most important player, probably in program history at this point, but definitely on this roster. And Barnes gets her kill.
Goes through the block of Wirch and Jones.
Looking at Sunaa Barnes, she's an outside here, but she's only 5'9", so she's a little undersized, and you can kind of see her standing next to Delaplane and Howling, but she still has that great vertical leap, and she has a lot of power.
That is definitely impressive to have a outside or a right side hitter that's just 5'9". I mean, the setter, Emma Deck, is taller than her.
Exactly. After a service error, that was Olsonowski making a crucial error for the Wildcats, giving Marquette the momentum and set point here in the Al McGuire Center for Hope Wirch.
Huge moment for Hope Wirch, who actually leads the team in service aces.
We'll see if she can get one more. Set by Decker. Over to Barnes. She has so much power in that swing. 5'9's got nothing on her.
No, definitely not. You could even hear the ball that had so much power when she hit it.
Now Sarah Allman, the junior defensive specialist. She's had a couple crucial serves so far. We'll see if she can help tie this game at 24. Sarah Rose is going to set to Vandenberg. Morse saves it. Here comes Delaplane. Dig by Wirch. Vandenberg will have to just send it over, and now Wildcats can set up here. Over to Delaplane. Good block from Jones. Dug by Vandenberg, and now here comes Kuntz. Low. Delaplane will send it over. Here comes Marquette now for the set. Rose. Kuntz. And it's going to be a soft one. Here comes Decker. Now to Delaplane. And the dig from Wirch is no good. And we are tied at 24. And we are going to extra points.
Huge play for the Wildcats on that one. And now Tice has to call a timeout because the Wildcats have that momentum after that huge long point and saving set point.
Well, Marquette, they were up 2. They had match point for a couple points, but we are going to extra points here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It is just a fun game to watch. 25-23 was the final score of the first set. We are currently at 24 all. Can't get much more evenly matched than that, Zoe.
No, I definitely think you can. And I think this is a really good chance for the Golden Eagles because this comes right before they head to Creighton and go play Creighton again, who they lost to back in October at the Al McGuire Center. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if they could stay strong and have a little bit better defense.
You know, I wanted to ask you something, Zoe. I'm glad you brought that up because they play Creighton, and obviously Providence should be an easy win for them to conclude their regular season, but Villanova and Creighton back-to-back, I know it's not necessarily back-to-back in terms of days, but in terms of like scheduling, that's a rough way to kind of end the season because you're playing 2 powerhouse teams. Imagine them losing to Villanova tonight and then having to go on the road to Creighton in Omaha, and remember, team they lost 3-0 here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin just a month ago or so.
Exactly, and I mean that's where they lost the Big East tournament last year as well at Creighton. So this is definitely a big tune-up game for them to see if they can pull this out because Villanova is the next best team after Creighton. So it really gives them good preparation, I think.
And Marquette essentially has the 1 or 2 seed in that tournament locked up, but big games like this can determine if they will stay 1 or if they will fall to 2. As we resume play now, Jones goes for her kill. It's blocked out of bounds. Marquette has the advantage, 25-24.
Huge momentum boost for the Golden Eagles. Jones on the slide doing what she does best.
And now Gwen Jones after her kill. She will serve for Marquette. An opportunity here for Marquette. Can they capitalize? And Decker serves. And it's blocked. And Vandenberg says no and gives Marquette set number 2.
Wow, huge block from the freshman. That looks like an experienced player. She did not look like a freshman on that play.
You would not think she's a freshman from the way she's been playing. We are going to the third set, tied at 1 apiece between Villanova and Marquette. We'll have some thoughts for you after the break when we come back. Again, you've been listening to MUTV's Marquette Volleyball broadcast against the Villanova Wildcats. Jack Phillips and Zoe Comerford will be back in just a few minutes, so stick right around.
I surrender, I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
And welcome back again to MUTV's Marquette Volleyball broadcast. We apologize for starting a little late, but we're back. 1-0 Marquette just gets the kill, and now they lead the third set. Again, we're tied here 1-1, and it's really anyone's ball game so far. Speckman will dig. Kanavidov will set to Barber, and she gets a kill. Barber gets her 12th kill, makes her the game high leader.
Right through the hands of Emma Decker. He's just too powerful. Allie Barber doing what Allie Barber does best.
And Speckman will serve it off. Decker will set to Howling. The dig from Speck. And now Wirch. Barber goes to slam it down, but it goes out of bounds. And Villanova gets on the board. Now 2-1.
So what I would say here is both teams have won a set. So basically it's like you're starting over because you have one set and the opponent has one set.
So it's like a best of 3 at this point.
Yes, exactly.
And now Orff's attack gets stuffed. That was by Olsenowski, but Barber can't be denied. She's a little bit different. 3-1, Marquette leads. And now it'll be Vandenberg to serve it up for Marquette. She had a really good play to end the second set. She blocked it to win, and she just gets the service error. But going back to that last play, 24 all entering extra points, and Marquette gets 2 in a row to take the second set and tie this game back up at 1 set apiece. Now it's Decker to serve for Villanova. She gets it over to Speckman, to Wirch. Decker digs, low sets to Barnes, and it's tipped by Orff. And Barnes gets yet again another kill.
She ties it up at 3, so.
Well, Barnes wasn't playing much, but now Suna Barnes, she is climbing on the stat sheet. She has 6 kills right behind Delaplane and Potts. As Kanavidov has a good dig. Barber will just send it over, but she gets a kill, and it's not going to count, though. So it was a net violation on Marquette. And now Villanova takes the lead 4-3.
They're on a 3-0 scoring run. Marquette needs to break their momentum if they want to try to get this.
And that might help Zoe with a service error from Decker. 4 all.
That's Villanova's 6th service error.
And that'll be Kanavidov. She'll serve. She's had some success for the Golden Eagles this evening. By Olsenowski. And Potts will send it over. Now here comes Marquette. Speckman will set to Wirch, and she gets a kill. 5-4, Marquette leads by 1 now. 2-point swing there between Marquette and Villanova.
It's right off the hands of Olsenowski. She couldn't have done anything on that one. Wirch just went to the side.
And almost a service ace from Kanavidov as Barnes comes in. She gets another kill. That's 7. And again, Suna Barnes, she's coming out of nowhere, really. Again, we weren't really expecting to see much from her. We were looking at Delaplane and Potts as usual, but Barnes is being the real X factor the Wildcats need, and probably why they're having such a great game so far. Kanavidov over to Barber. Now Decker will send it to Olsenowski. Vandenberg forces Wirch to send it over. Now here comes Decker to set for Delaplane. Marquette has it for Barber. She gets the kill.
Something Allie Barber's so good at is court vision, knowing where her opponents aren't and hitting the floor every single time.
It's one of those things you just really can't teach.
No, it definitely isn't. And I think that's like we were talking about Hannah Vandenberg. I think she has that same potential as well to have that good court vision. So
it's kind of like the transitioning of powers we've talked about. Barber, not necessarily, we're not going to necessarily say this yet, but maybe passing on the torch to Vandenberg. We might see that as Barber gets a service error. 6-6 now, tied here in the Al. as Barber and Speckman both sub out for Rose and Kuntz, the classic 2v2 sub.
So looking at the previous sets, there were 7 tie scores in the first and 5 in the second, and there have almost been the same amount in this first couple points.
Well, Oskanowski serves, and now Decker will set for Howling. That was perfect placement from Decker. He averages 10.14 assists for a reason. She's got great placement skills on the volleyball court.
Yeah, she definitely does. And she had last season, she had 3,000 plus assists. So she's done a great job. It's just setting it up for her teammates.
And now Rose to Kuntz, and some miscommunication there. Be an error on Marquette, and now Villanova's lead grows to 2, 8-6. Again, listening to MUTV's broadcast of Marquette volleyball versus Villanova. Jack Phillips on the call alongside Zoe Comerford. Proud to give you some much-needed Marquette volleyball information as Olsonowski can't handle the serve, and she gets that service error as Reagan Lowe checks back in. Villanova now back with their libero.
Villanova was on a 3-0 scoring run before that service error, but that will be their 7th of the match.
Here comes Wirch. Decker will have to set it up for Delaplane, but here comes Marquette. Rose over to Kuntz. Decker to Howling. It's tipped out of bounds. Howling gets another kill. That'll be her 6th kill. The two teams have been really different in terms of kills. It's been all Barber and Wirch on the Marquette side, having 14 and 12 respectively. Compare that to Villanova when Potts, Delaplane, Barnes, and Howling each have 9, 8, 7, and 6 kills. It's very balanced on the Villanova side compared to Marquette, where it's really just 2 people doing all the damage.
Exactly, and that's definitely due to Decker and just how she distributes it to different people every time.
The 6-3 setter having a lot of success here in Milwaukee tonight. Villanova still has a 9-8 lead. Gwynn Jones to serve now for Marquette. She just subbed in. Now here comes Decker to Delaplane. Good dig from Jones. Rose to Kuntz. Decker back to Delaplane, and it's a little too soft. Villanova wants a net violation, and they got it.
Head coach Ryan Tice is not happy about that.
And that last play was a little confusing. And Villanova argued for a little bit of a reversal there. It looked like it was Marquette's point. But now Coach Tice is arguing with the referee. They'll give the net violation to Marquette, so whatever the players wanted, they ended up getting it on the Villanova side, but Marquette won't challenge it, so 10-8 now as Wirch, a lot of power on that one. Howling, Rose, Vandenberg, kill. And that's how you do it. 1, 2, 3, dig, set, kill. Vandenberg finishes off the play.
Vandenberg has 8 kills on the night, and she has 8 digs, so she's getting close to a double-double.
And Vandenberg definitely emerging into a true impact player role on this Golden Eagle roster. With the departures of Allie Barber, Lauren Speckman, 2 of the most starred players in program history. With their eventual graduation, it's going to be interesting to see which players on the Marquette side step up and necessarily fill those roles, and Vandenberg's definitely a candidate to take over what Barber's already started.
Definitely. She's kind of taken over for KJ Lyons when she's been out with an injury, so I think she's the best bet to kind of filling that void next year.
Speaking about filling a void, look at Vandenberg right there on that kill attempt and a kill success. 11-10, she gives Marquette the lead again. Vandenberg, she actually has 9 kills. She's just behind Wirch and Barber. She's kind of emerging right now as that third go-to player behind Wirch and, of course, Barber. After a service error this time from Speckman, Marquette up 2, 12-10 in the third set. Again, each team has 1. So like Zoe said earlier, it's kind of like starting back at 0 at this point. Best of 3. And a stuff. That was Orphan Vandenberg denying the Wildcats in getting a 3rd point to give them a 3-point lead. Forcing a timeout by Steinbach.
Golden Eagles are on a 5-0 scoring run. That was a huge block by Orff and Vandenberg to just get up there, get their hand set, and get it right back, stuff it right back to Villanova.
And with that timeout, again, we've seen a lot of ups and downs from both teams. Villanova being the streaky team we expected, and Marquette trying to handle them as best as they can. They got off to a, not necessarily a rough start, but they did start off on the right foot, I should say, losing set number 1. They battled back in extra points to win the second. Now they're up 3, but as we've seen throughout this entire evening, a 3-point lead really doesn't mean much for either squad.
No, it doesn't, because the momentum shifts so often in this game, especially in this match, and I think it's really interesting to see the two teams go head-to-head. They're both really doing a nice job on offense and defense, and it's really going to be the team who outlasts the other and does a little bit better on the defensive side is the team that's going to win. And I think, as of right now, it was Villanova, but I think Marquette's defense has really stepped up in this set.
And a lot of times you'll hear sometimes in this, you hear this a lot in sports when they talk about playing up to your opponent's level in a way. Marquette enters, and again, Villanova is such a hard team to game plan for, but Marquette enters with a real offensive force. And you obviously see that with Speckman, Barber, or the list goes on and on. But when you come up against Villanova, sometimes you really have to shift the way you play. And that's what I'm talking about, playing to the abilities of your opponent. And it's really seemed like that defensive mindset that's really been absorbed in Villanova has kind of transferred over to Marquette now, which is probably why in the third and second sets we've really seen the defense step up in the Golden Eagles.
For sure.
And Potts' attack unsuccessful. Here comes Barber. We resume play with a kill from Barber. And that's how you do it for her 15th kill.
Puts it right past Delaplane.
Smashing that all-time leading record that she just broke last night against Georgetown.
That was a fun one.
That must have been a fun one to call.
It was, for sure. Becoming the all-time leading scorer for Marquette.
Speckman will set it to Wirtz. A dig by Lowe. It's out of bounds. Would have been a net violation regardless, but 15-10. Marquette on top 5 now. One of the biggest leads they've had in a while. They were up 11-6 in the first set at one point, which they eventually lost. So a 5-point lead does not mean a necessarily set win.
Nope, it doesn't guarantee you anything. And I think they're on a 7-0 scoring run, but that could easily shift to Villanova if they start getting hot.
It'll be Speckman to serve again. She's been doing really well on the serving spot. Delaplane. Here comes Marquette. Kanavidov over to Barber. A good dig by Lowe. Set by Decker. And killed by Potts. To get her 10th kill. Villanova now is in double digits for individual players with a kill from Potts.
She was very excited on that one. She jumped really high. That was a huge kill with so much power.
Potts definitely has a lot of enthusiasm in her step. And Speckman will set to Orff, but she gets stuffed this time by Olsenoski. And the game is now down to a 3-point lead, still for Marquette, as Lowe will serve again.
What I think is really interesting in this Villanova team, how we've seen them go from getting swept by Marquette at Villanova to coming out to the Al McGuire Center and winning a set off of them already in this early match.
Yeah, very impressive for Villanova after Lowe gets the service error there to give Marquette another 4-point lead. Now Vandenberg, we've talked a lot about her today. She will serve for the Golden Eagles. Doug, set, kill. Easy as 1, 2, 3. I know it doesn't rhyme, but Potts has looked good. She's got 11 kills now.
Golden Eagles still have the 3-point lead, but Villanova definitely having that enthusiasm on the court.
And here comes Sunah Barnes. She's had a great game so far, too. She subbed in for the Wildcats. She's got 7 kills so far on 15 total attacks, so just under 50%. As Decker, the 6'3 setter, serves barely dug up by Shesso. She just subbed in for Marquette, and Orff gets the kill. And we haven't really seen much of Katie Shesso yet, but she's also been a pretty crucial role player for the Golden Eagles so far in the 2019 campaign.
She definitely has. She comes in when Tyson needs her to come in. She does her job. She gets those digs, and then she'll go out. And she's perfectly happy with that and not having that libero spot, but being that defensive specialist to come in and do what they need.
Speaking of defensive specials, as Marquette gets the point, Kanavidov serving right now. Is it safe to say that Shesso is going to be that eventual libero once Kanavidov departs after the 2020 season?
I definitely think that's a good bet. She's getting a lot of playing time alongside Kanavidov, and she gets to just see how that works, and I think that's a good bet.
And Wirtz's attack gets blocked, but right back to Speckman. And Barber Her kill so powerful, the dig almost went to the ceiling. That's pretty high in the Al McGuire Center. Speckman, Barber. Gonna miss saying that. 19-13 now for Marquette.
It almost went to the band.
It really did almost go to the band. Now a sub. Remy Fairchild, we haven't seen much of her, the senior outside hitter from Southlake, Texas. She subs in for the Wildcats.
We haven't seen her at all in this match.
Now here comes Potts. Her attack dug by Konamadov, and now Lurch goes for the little tap over the net, and now Barnes. God, that power on her has just stifled the Golden Eagle defense as Villanova trims the deficit down to 5.
I did want to talk about Barnes. I think this is very interesting. She actually did track and field in high school, Jack, and she won state for high jump. That's why she's so good at jumping and getting up for those kills. It's because she won state for high jump in Texas.
That probably explains why, as a 5'9" person, she's been able to really retain that outside hitter position just because of how high she can jump. I mean, look at that leaping ability. She almost blocked Barber there. And now setting up Fairchild. And looks like it was a net violation on Marquette to turn the deficit down to 4. 19-15 in favor of Marquette still. A good dig from Lowe. Here comes Villanova. Speckman to Barber. And another kill. My goodness.
That was going right at Emma Decker.
Yeah, 17 kills. Barber subs out with Speckman, of course. Rose and Kuntz sub in.
So Allie Barber has 18 kills already. We're only in the third set here, and last night she had 22. So she's done a fantastic job in the past week.
And now Sarah Rose serves for Marquette. Here comes Olsonowski. Almost gets the kill, but and Barnes runs into Morse. Villanova finishes the point, but both shaken up a little bit. They're okay. Well, that had to hurt a little bit.
It definitely did. That looked like it hurt, especially when you run into them at that fast speed.
Well, Lowe will sub out now. It looks like Maddie Scheider will get some action now. Villanova going without the libero for a minute, as we have a little stoppage of play for a minute. Again, 2016, Marquette still leads by 4 as the last play appears to be under review.
It's definitely interesting to find out what happens here, because I'm not sure if anyone challenged it. They just are looking it over, I think.
Again, you're listening to MUTV's Marquette volleyball broadcast. It's the Villanova Wildcats. Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford tonight in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us this Saturday evening. I know there's a lot going on. As Olsonowski now to Rose, to Jones, and that's a kill. Jones in her final game as a senior in the Al McGuire Center in the regular season, I should say. She's looked good.
That's what she does best, on the slide, and paints that back corner.
Now Hope Wirch. It's it over. Decker. Over to Fairchild. Now to Barnes, and stuffed. That was Vandenberg. Right at the net, denied. Barnes has had success all night until now. Marquette sending a statement with that one, forcing a timeout from Villanova with a 6-point lead. 3 to go to clinch the third set.
Huge block for Hannah Vandenberg. I would say huge game for Hannah Vandenberg. She has 9 kills. She's hitting at a .333. She has 8 digs and 3 blocks.
Is it safe to say she's probably the X factor for Marquette right now? I know we've been talking a lot about Potts and some of the other players on that roster being X factors, but for Marquette, has it really been Vandenberg tonight?
I would say yes. Even though Hope Wirch is hitting at a .542, I think Vandenberg has just been all around doing everything from getting those digs on the defense to getting the kills on the offense.
And it's hard to disagree with there, Zoe. I mean, again, Vandenberg's, we've seen her consistently increase in her abilities throughout the entire 2019 season, but it's all kind of weird because, again, coming into this year, you wouldn't have thought Vandenberg would have been put in such a crucial role for the Golden Eagles. But like we've been saying with the injury to KJ Lyons, and who knows how long she's going to be out.
Coach Tice still doesn't know.
Exactly. So there's no timetable for her return according to Coach Tice. We talked to him last night about that. But with that gives Vandenberg a lot more opportunity, especially heading into what's weird. It's going to sound weird to think of it like this, but you're throwing such a young person into such a crucial role heading into the postseason. Usually you kind of do that in the beginning of the season, let them get a little bit more used to it, but Vandenberg's been heavily relied upon in one of the most important parts of the entire season.
Exactly, but she has an impressive resume. She was 3-time Conference Player of the Year, so she has that resume from high school, and she's just bringing that into college. She also had 2,433 kills, 1,418 digs, and 235 aces, so she was an impressive high school player, and that is translating really well into being a starting player for the number 9 team in the nation.
And definitely, again, she's someone we expected to be good, but I guess not this early. As Barnes sends it to Knavadov, we resume play. Rose over to Vandenberg. Now here comes Decker over to Barnes again. Good save for Marquette. Kuntz almost gets that. Now Rose back to Kuntz. This time stuffed, but Marquette will save it. Here we go, rally time. Low back in for the Wildcats. Fairchild tries to kill, no good. Here comes Jones. And Vandenberg saves. Jones will send it back over. A lot of hectic play so far. Long rally.
Both teams out of system.
And Vandenberg slams it into the net. And Villanova, after a 45-second rally, finally comes away with the point.
Seems like Villanova really does well in those long rallies. So I think Marquette needs to limit that because it seems like Villanova wins all of the longer rallies.
That'll be Allman again for the Wildcats. Almost a service ace, but Vandenberg will get it over. Now here comes Decker. Fairchild. A little outside. Another point for Marquette, 23-17. 2 more points, and they will have set 3. As Gabby Martinez, someone we don't see too much in the Marquette uniform, she's back in for Marquette to serve.
Martinez has only played 39 sets this season, and she hasn't had that much playing time, like you said, but she comes in and she does her job at the serve.
Gets it over the net. Now Kuntz just tips it right over, and Marquette is at match point with a 7-point lead. This is by far their largest lead of the evening. Villanova, we've talked about streakiness. Can they go on a streak of their own to force extra points? We'll find out in just a moment as Gabby Martinez stays on to serve for the Golden Eagles. And Decker barely gets over the net. Thank God for her 6'3" height. As Vandenberg goes for her kill, no good. Decker, Howling, she gets one. Howling, that'll be her 7th kill on the evening. And trying to trim away. Can they get 6 more unanswered points, Zoe, though? That's
what I was thinking. I don't know. I mean, you've got that one. I guess you just have to take it 1 point at a time and think, okay, if we can keep doing that, I mean, and get a few service aces in, we could be tied.
And Coach Tice not relying on Barber or Speckman in this one. They're going to keep Rose and Kuntz in as the dynamic duo for this match point. Now Emily Curtis, who just subbed in, gets a service error to end the 3rd set. Marquette up 2-1 now, heading into the 4th set.
Definitely not the way Villanova wanted to end it with the service error. That's their 10th service error of the match, so definitely that has not helped them, and especially losing set point on that. That's something you just gave Marquette the set.
That's crazy as it sounds. Marquette, after losing the 1st set, is now up 2-1 and only needs 25 more points to clinch this game and head it into Omaha with another win. But we will find out what happens in the 4th set in just a few minutes. Until then, stay here because Jack Phillips and Zoe Comerford, of course, on MUTV, broadcast action between Marquette and, of course, Villanova. We'll be right back after this.
So I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
And we are back for some more MUVB action here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot. But if you're still with us, thanks again for spending your Saturday evening with MUTV. Again, Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford on the call between Villanova and Marquette, the number 9 team in the country in the Golden Eagles, looking to finish this one off in 4 as Villanova tries to force a 5th. They went to 5 last night in DePaul, and they lost. Looking to try and erase that memory and create a new one here in Milwaukee. Again, Jack Phillips alongside Zoe Comerford, bringing you plenty of action. Zoe, I don't know how you can understate this, but it's a pretty impressive game so far.
Definitely, I think these are this is one of the best matchups besides obviously Marquette and Creighton. I think Villanova has really shown themselves as a team to beat in this Big East Conference. I mean, last night having lost to DePaul, I mean, this is very similar to the situation they were in last night. They won the first and then lost 2 consecutive sets, and then they ended up forcing a fell short 15-10. So they're trying to get a different result in this 4th set now, but first they have to get through this 4th set, and Marquette has all the energy. They have the fans, and it will be a tough one for Villanova to try to get back in it.
Yeah, it'll definitely be tough. Again, the odds are stacked up against the Wildcats. While they were stacked up against Marquette, Marquette clawed and fought back to force 4, and now they are knocking on the door with a potential game winner here in the 4th set. We'll find out in just a few moments as Morse starts off the 4th set, now to Orff, and she gets a kill to start off the 4th set. 1-0 Marquette.
Barnes and Delaplane both won after that one, but neither one could get a hand on it.
Now, Hannah Vandenberg to serve. Here comes Delaplane. And what would not have looked like a successful kill ends up being one. She gets Villanova on the board, 1-1 in the 4th set now.
Definitely kind of looked like a miss hit on that one, but she got it to the floor, and Lauren Speckman couldn't get her hand under it.
And now it's Olsenowski in one of her final regular season games in a Wildcat uniform. The senior outside hitter gets the service ace to give Villanova a 2-1 lead.
Villanova's 7th service ace of the match, compared to Marquette's just 3.
Now Olsenowski serves again. No ace this time as Speckman will set over to Wirch for the kill. 2-2. Marquette, again, really trying to rally here. They're already won 2 sets in a row. They have the momentum, but can they continue it? That is the question. Navinoff will serve. Here comes Howling. It goes out. And Marquette gets another point. 3-2. Marquette's lead back to 1. And Kanavadov to serve again.
My question is if Villanova will maybe get tired after playing a 5-set match yesterday and playing this hard today.
Well, it sure doesn't seem like it right after that play with Howling getting the kill. But yeah, to add on to your point, Zoe, I mean, especially being on the road in 2 teams like Chicago and Milwaukee, the distance might not be too far, but just the road matchups, the constant hostile environment, you know, you really never know what you're going to get. And Villanova, the fact that they fought to 5 last night and could end up forcing 5 against the number 9 team in the country, that's pretty impressive for the Wildcats, as Gwynn Jones's attack is not successful, and Villanova gets another point. They reclaim the lead, 4-3.
That's just a testament, I think, to how good this Villanova team is with their senior leadership and just really doing a nice job of saying, okay, we're the underdogs, but let's play like we are expected to win.
And a service ace from Villanova. Happened to be Allman. She got that ace.
Villanova bench super excited from that.
Villanova's going to need all that they can get to, quote unquote, get back in this one. And a little confusion there from the Wildcats as Delaplane tries to send it back, but Wirch and Jones again with the denial to take the deficit down to just one. 5-4, Villanova still leads. As Kuntz and Rose check back in, and Speckman and Barber will take a seat. Rest up for the middle part of the set.
It's definitely smart by Ryan Tice to take the Stars out and kind of put in other people while they're only one behind.
And an unsuccessful Rose Rainbow serve as she gets the error on that one, and Villanova gets another point. Mallory Potts back in for the Wildcats. Potts, Decker, and Howling on the front line. Here comes Wirch, denied, and somehow almost saved by the Golden Eagles, but it will be a point for the Wildcats as Delaplane will serve. Here's Rose to Wirch, and that's a no kill. Looks like it was a little wide, forcing a timeout from Marquette after giving up the 8th point to Villanova. They trail by 4 heading into the timeout.
Villanova's on a 3-0 scoring run, and Marquette has really struggled on the offense in this one. They have 2 kills on 3 errors and 5 attempts, so they're hitting at a negative .200 for the first time in the match. But it's not like Villanova's having that much success on the offensive either. They're hitting at a .0, so both teams' offense is not great, but I think it's been Villanova's defense, and now they have a total of 8 blocks that has really been doing the job for them.
This is a little off topic, Zoe. I know I pointed this out in previous broadcasts, but I know you do a lot of great work with the Marquette volleyball beat, so you know a lot about this team. Is there any other team that they've played this year where they have their players like continuously warming up during timeouts?
No, I actually have thought about this. No other team that they have played have players warming up. And right now it's Sandy Moore, Gabby Martinez, Katie Chesso, and Claire Neusmeyer and Claire Mosier. But still, I mean, while the rest of the team is huddling, they're kind of warming up because they want to be ready if they're called upon.
It's just interesting because, again, Marquette, it's not just the Big East Conference, though. It's really all the other it's all the other non-conference. Like, you look at some of the teams they played, like Wisconsin, Baylor, and Baylor at one point was #1 in the country. And even those teams, and I know Marquette's #9, of course, but even those teams don't have that interesting kind of warm-up technique. So I was just curious from your point of view, Zoe, if there was maybe another team that I just hadn't thought of.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think Marquette is one of the only teams in the nation that does that, and I think it's good to having that depth, and you need to be ready at all times.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it seems like it's paid off for Coach Tice and the Golden Eagles after the Wildcats get a service error to give Marquette its 5th point of the set. We resume play again. Jack Phillips and Zoe Comerford on the call. Hope Wirch to serve for the Golden Eagles. Almost an ace. It was an ace, actually. When she came into this game, she had 48 service aces, and she's definitely cracked 50 now. And Decker tries to send it over. Kuntz has a chance. Jones saves it. Rose sets it, and Vandenberg ends it.
That was so powerful. Hannah Vandenberg, it was right in the perfect place and toward the back end of the court, and it had so much power. There's nothing they could do about that.
Great sequence of plays there. Gwen Jones, again, she saves the play. Rose is able to get it over to Vandenberg, who just puts it on the ground. Gives Marquette its 7th point of the match. Now the 8th point after another error from Villanova.
So Hope Wirch serve again. Service ace. She has 2 on the night.
So now she has 50.
Now she has 50, yes. And last season she had 55 total. She will definitely get that by the end of the season.
Now here's Decker, and Wirch couldn't dig. Good play from the Wildcats to get the 9th point of the set. 9-8 again, Marquette trailing by 1.
So Hope Wirtz, going back to that, she actually is ranked 13th nationally with those 50 aces.
Rose to Jones. Good dig from Delaplane, set by Decker, and Potts couldn't finish it as Quinn Jones got in the way. 9-9, we're tied again.
It's the Golden Eagles' 6th block of the match. 7th, excuse me.
And here comes Jones to serve. Dug by Delaplane, set by Decker. Mallory Potts, they'll try that sequence again. This time Marquette receives it. Here comes Coots, she kills it. And it's 10-9, Marquette back on top. Orff subs in for Marquette. Herr, Vandenberg, and Kuntz on the front line. Dug by Ullman, set by Decker. Olsonowski gets the kill. That's her 4th kill of the evening. And right on time, here comes Sunab Barnes to fill in as the other outside hitter. Decker serve. Rose sets. And good dig from Delaplane. Mallory Potts will send it back. Here comes Kanavidov to Rose, over to Vandenberg. It's a good kill. Almost saved by Barnes, but just not enough. And Marquette again back on top. 11-10 in the 4th set. Marquette leads 2-1. Needs 14 more points to call it a regular season from the Al McGuire Center before their final 2 road matches at Creighton and Providence. Here comes Barnes. She finds no man's land. Speckman almost got there, but Barnes get her now 9th kill of the evening.
It's interesting because she's 5'9", and she was going against 6'5" Allie Barber, who could have blocked that, but she got it right out of reach.
Very good placement there from Barnes. Here comes the Wildcats again. Speckman. Barber blocked. Kanavidov, what a save there. And Wirtz will just send it right over, but way too short. That was a little mental error. Wirtz knew it. And Villanova back on top, 12-11. Every point matters in this game. You have to wonder if that'll come back to bite the Golden Eagles. Well, they make up for it. Service error on the Wildcats.
It's another free point from the Wildcats. It's their 12th service error of the match.
And here comes Vandenberg. She's got 11 kills on the evening with only 3 errors. Decker will send it all the way across to Delaplane, and now Speckman has it over to Barber. Little dig. Olsonowski. Now Kanavidov over to Wirtz, and she puts it right in the middle for an easy kill. Wirtz now has 15 kills on the evening.
No, not too soft, not too hard. She put it right in there. Perfect speed and everything.
And now Vandenberg to continue serving for the Golden Eagles. Dug by Lowe, set by Decker, and Barnes again. She is just something else. 10 kills now. She's in double digits.
Barnes last season, she had 205 kills. She averaged 2.2 kills per set, and she had 9 matches with 10-plus kills. So she's already in the double digits again for kills today.
One of the 2 recruits from the Texas area. Surprised Baylor didn't look into her.
Definitely.
As Villanova gets another block to reclaim the lead, 14-13 now.
So in 2012, she actually, Barnes won the gold medal for AAU track and field.
So it's not only volleyball, but track and field that she had a lot of success in. Service there, that's Olsonowski. And Marquette's back tied up again. Here's Katie Shesso. She just subbed in for the Golden Eagles. It'll be Kanavidov to serve, though. Good dig from Villanova. Here comes Howling. Even better dig from Kanavidov. Speckman, ooh, tried to trick the defense, but Howling was ready. Now here comes Wirtz. Looks like it stays in. Marquette gets a point. Back to Marquette's lead, 15-14. Again, you're listening to MUTV's broadcast between Marquette Volleyball and Villanova. Jack Phillips and Zoe coming around the call. We thank you for listening back home. Now here comes the Wildcats. Delaplane, good dig from Shesso, but it was a little too hard to handle for Barber.
Barber was on the floor. She couldn't get a hand on that. It went right into the net.
No matter how tall she is, 6'5" to be exact, it was just a little too much. And now Villanova has another opportunity to serve. It'll be Allman again. The magic number is 10 for both teams. Marquette could win it if they take the fourth set. Villanova would force an extra 15 points in a fifth set. Barber, no surprises. Another kill, that's her 19th, everybody. She's having one spectacular season, one spectacular career, and one spectacular game.
And one spectacular weekend. She had 22 yesterday, and she's already at 19 today, and we're just in the fourth set.
Now Barber to serve again. We don't see this very often, so.
Yesterday she actually had a service ace.
Speaking of aces, she just had the exact opposite. Service error there. 16 all. That was bad timing, so I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That was my curse. That was my bad.
That happens, you know?
It seems like every time. But it's just both teams are just trading off points. This shows that they're two of the better teams in the Big East.
Now Mallory Potts back in. Barnes subs out. As it'll be Delaplane to serve for the Wildcats. That'll go out of bounds. Service error. Well, it wasn't cursed there, Zoe. Had a perfect point there, just trading away points. Marquette needs 8 to win it. They're up 1, 17-16 here in the fourth set in the Al McGuire Center.
Steinbeck should not be happy with how the serving has gone. They have 14 service errors. Like, yes, they have 8 aces, but the 14 errors have come on crucial points, especially during set point.
Doug, set. Mallory Potts can't finish it. Now here comes Vandenberg, and it's a net violation. Marquette gets the point to not reclaim the lead, but to expand their lead to 2, 18-16. And now it's Wirch. She will be serving for the Golden Eagles.
Wirch already has 2 service aces on the day. 2 of Marquette's 5 have come from Hope Wirch.
Wirch with 16 kills already on 4 errors. So for every error, she gets 4 kills back. It's pretty good. And now Kanavadov will save it. Now Villanova has a set opportunity. Decker will give it back to Howling, and she finds the open space and gets a kill.
She went cross on that perfect because she went right through the block of Ellie Kuntz, and that was just a great play by her.
Noel Sanowski, she's back in for the Wildcats. Lowe gets it over. Rose puts it back to Kuntz. Good dig from the Wildcats. And no kill necessary for Gwen Jones. It was an error on the Wildcats. Marquette now leads 19-17 again. Up 2. Plenty of time still for the Wildcats to mount a comeback. They've given up the last 2 sets. Can they force 5? Orf to Rose, to Kuntz, kill. 20 points from Marquette now, 5 more to win this match.
Kuntz went right to Reagan Lowe, who was already on the ground. She had no chance of getting under that.
And now Coach Steinbach will call a timeout for the Wildcats, as he will look to rally his troops and hope that he can somehow will his team to force a 5th set.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway I have from this game is that both teams have had outstanding defenses. The offense hasn't been super great. I mean, they've been hitting around .300, both teams, but I think it's been the defense that's been the most impressive. The liberos just getting in position, getting these digs, and just having big blocks. Like, there's a total of 16 blocks from both teams tonight.
And looking ahead to Villanova, they have 2 more games left. They play at Seton Hall Friday, November 22nd, and they have their senior night Sunday, November 24th against St. John's. Zoe, I know you're a pretty Big East volleyball expert here. You see, I kind of already assume your answer here, but do you see both those games being wins for Villanova?
I definitely think so. I mean, looking at the standings, you see Seton Hall and St. John's are lower. I mean, Seton Hall is almost last. They're 9th, and then St. John's is 4th. But I think that could be an interesting game, St. John's. But I think they will pull out 2 wins, and if that happens, Villanova will stay at 3. And then, depending on if Marquette loses to Creighton, it could be Marquette at 2, and they might have to play again at the Al McGuire Center at the Big East tournament in the semifinals.
So this could be just a little bit of a preview for what we might see in about a week and a half or so.
That's what I was thinking. Unless Marquette gets a 1 seed, then they wouldn't play.
Now here's Orff over to Kuntz. Decker sets it for Mallory Potts, who goes for the kill, but Orff and Kuntz are like a wall and just stuff it. 21-17, Marquette leads by 4.
Huge block from Elizabeth Orff. That's her 2nd of the day.
Decker sets to Potts. Good dig from Rose, and some miscommunication between Orff and Wirch. My apologies, Vandenberg. Leads to an error on Marquette, and their lead down to 3 now, 21-18. They have a really good opportunity to finish it off here in the 4th set. Will they capitalize, or will Villanova get back in and force a 5th? We will find out as Decker almost gets a service ace. Wow, that was a good serve. Rose to Kuntz, and she gets a kill. They've been doing really good in this 4th set. And right on cue, Speckman and Barber. Can they give us one last gamer?
Yep, that's what Ryan Tice is thinking. All right, I'm saving Speckman and Barber for these last couple points to just finish it off because they want to be done.
Now Speckman will serve. Almost out of bounds. Barber, my apologies, Barnes. So now Speckman over to Barber. Good dig from Morse. Here comes Speckman. Back to Barber. Good rally here. Barnes goes for the kill. And it's out of bounds. No tip. And now a point for Marquette. Marquette has 23 now. 2 away from their final win in the Al McGuire Center in the regular season. But Villanova, with their backs against the wall, no surprise here, they will challenge that the ball was tipped. And I think, honestly, it very well might have been. I looked like they got tipped a little bit.
It definitely might have been. I thought it was as well, but I think it'll be interesting to see how good Steinbeck is at his challenges, because he's already won 1 today, so he's 1 for 1.
And with the lead being 5, this 2-point swing could make a drastic difference, bringing it down to 3 if the challenge is successful for Steinbach. Remember, Coach Tice is 1 for 2 on challenges, I believe, so far. So we'll see if...
Or he might be 1 for 3, because he had 2 wrong ones, and then he had the right one.
You're right, so he's 1 for 3. We'll see if Steinbach can go 1 for 1 or 0 for 1, assuming there's no more challenges in this match.
I mean, it's the 4th set. You have the challenges.
Might as well use it, exactly, yeah.
And it could cause the momentum to swing in your direction. You should take it.
And Marquette, again, their final 2 games, they have one of the biggest challenges of the year in Creighton. That'll be in Omaha. That'll be a big game for you fellow Big East viewers. But their final actual game is against Providence on a Sunday at 12 o'clock. I doubt that's going to be much of a game, Zoe.
I agree. I think it will be a sweep, but I think the big game is that November 22nd Creighton game, because I think that will say who's going to win the Big East, I think.
And your fellow beat reporter, Dan Evington, who also does a great job with this volleyball information, I should say, he predicted, I remember on our last sports show, Golden Eagle Sports Report for MUTV, which is every Monday at 7 o'clock. Everyone here should always tune in for that. It's a fun time.
I'm on it on Monday, so yes.
So am I, so don't forget to tune into that. But going back to Dan's point, I remember he on one of the last shows said that Marquette wouldn't lose a single set for the rest of the Big East play, which means they would sweep Creighton. And last night that already ended because they lost the 2nd set to Georgetown, but
they've already lost a set to Villanova tonight.
But you're good friends with Dan. You're his colleague. Do you agree with him on this one?
I would say I think that obviously right now Marquette has already lost a set to Villanova, but I think looking forward, I think they're going to take it to 5 against Creighton again, because it's really hard to play in Creighton's arena. And I remember last year after the Big East tournament, it was almost impossible because of the atmosphere, and their fan base is so heavy because they are such a good volleyball program.
And that 5-set game against Creighton, that was one of the most, well, I should say fun, but really crazy environments we've seen in the Al in a long time. Marquette battles back just to lose it in the 5th, but it was still a great game nonetheless. As we resume play, the challenge was unsuccessful as Marquette is now at match point after the air for the Wildcats. We could be seeing the final Speckman-Barber moment in the regular season.
I would say that's a best bet of what's going to happen.
Yeah. Can they give us one last gamer? Speckman serves. Barnes with the attack. Here we go. Speckman to Barber. And that is out of bounds.
So close.
That was really close, but it'll go out, and now Marquette lead down to 5, 24-19. Villanova trying to claw back in this, as now Howling will sub out. Here comes Lowe. A couple changes for the roster.
It's definitely tough for Villanova. They're definitely the underdogs in this matchup, and having it be set point and they're behind 24-19, this would be an amazing comeback if they could fight off these set points.
They're going to use Maddie Scheider to serve here. She hasn't seen the court too much today. Vandenberg, Speckman, Barber.
Of course.
And one last gamer is delivered. Marquette takes the win in 4 sets and takes down the number 3 Big East Conference team in the Villanova Wildcats. What a win for the Golden Eagles.
Wow, they definitely have showed that, well, Villanova has showed really that they are a team to beat in this conference. I mean, they take the first set from Marquette and then drop the next 3. I think that Villanova did a very nice job in the first set, but they just kind of lost momentum in the next 3 sets. And I think Marquette really, this was a big tune-up game for the Creighton matchup that they have next week. So I think it was a good to see, okay, how can we play better defense? And I think that playing that better defense is really going to help them prepare for when they're playing a team like Creighton.
Definitely. So to end the weekend, Villanova loses to both DePaul and Marquette. They head to Seton Hall next Friday, and they'll conclude their season against St. John's at home. Looking at Marquette again, they play Creighton in Omaha on Friday and conclude their season Sunday at Providence. So get your popcorn ready, because this game that we just witnessed might be a preview to what could be in the Al McGuire Center over Thanksgiving break, but we will find out in just a few weeks. Nonetheless, again, I want to thank everyone for helping make this broadcast possible, for all the MUTV team back in Johnson Hall in our production studios, as well as Zoe Comerford for doing a great job on the call, Jack Phillips, Zoe Comerford, thank you for joining us at home and listening to our great broadcast between Marquette Volleyball and Villanova. We will see you next time, and don't forget to tune into our future broadcast. Thank you very much.